Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Wicked implement. It is the brand new exotic 180 scout rifle. It is a stasis scout rifle. It just came out this week. I had done no fishing. Not a single minute of fishing had I done before this thing came out, and I was like, well, I kind of figured that eventually there would come a point in the season where I was forced to. And so I did. I went fishing, and I was hoping it would be fun and relaxing, like people said, but I found it to be pretty boring. It was not too bad, honestly. I think I got all the exotic fish in about 45 minutes of fishing total. So honestly, it really wasn't too bad. But anyways, the Wicked implement, the quest for it was pretty cool. I did enjoy doing the timed thing against the Tormentor, and the whole idea of Xivu Arath like challenging us, and I thought that was pretty cool. I enjoyed doing that. But got my hands on the Wicked implement, immediately took it into PvP. Now I know people are going to tell me, yo, TV, this is a PvE gun. What's the point in even doing this video? I'm not a PvE guy, really. I mean, I do my PvE, but it's like eating your vegetables. It's something that you have to do. You do it because you got to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I know I got to do this stuff, so let me just knock it out. That's what PvE is to me. It's like eating your veggies. So, took it into PvP, and this whole video today, I'm going to be talking about my impressions of it in PvP. And I didn't do it for 3 games and get 25 kills with it, and then decide to make a video. I used it for several hours. I got like 250 kills in this thing so far, and I did have a lot of fun using it. I have some positive things to say and some negative things to say. Let's start with the good news. The good news is this thing is friggin' beautiful. Like, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I am a big fan of the aesthetic of this gun. I like that whole bone marrow kind of vibe that you get with some of these hive-oriented things. That's why, one of the reasons I really love the Deathbringer. But yeah, I got like this bone marrow vibe going on with it, and then the shimmering, almost looks like fish scales on the the body of the gun outside of the barrel. And if you actually flip it around, you get more of that effect on the other side. It's kind of interesting. It's sort of asymmetrical in that regard. The stock on it is reminiscent of, I think it's like taken from the Vouchsafe, which is one of my favorite scout rifles anyways. I think that overall design is beautiful. So all this to say, I think that the gun is aesthetically extremely pleasing. I think they knocked that out of the park. I like that a lot about it. Would I take it into trials? If someone were to ask me, would you take this thing into trials? I think I would say,
I'd rather shower with a bear.
So for PvP, one of the things we gotta call attention to right out of the gate. I mean, it's a 180 scout rifle, so don't expect more out of this gun than it can give. I mean, by design, it was already handed to us in a small box. Like, it doesn't have a lot of parameters that it can outperform. It's pretty confined in terms of what its potential is in PvP. I mean, 180 scout rifles, they have one of the longest TTKs in the entire game for a weapon, right? Last I checked, I like to use, I think it's called blueberry.com or something like that. Blueberry.gg, they have updated TTK spreadsheets and all that stuff for weapons if you're ever interested in looking at that stuff yourself. But I think last time I checked, 180 scout rifles had an optimal TTK of about 12.8 weeks. So it does take a long time to kill somebody with this gun. That's just the way these things go. But I think its utility is in its kill chaining potential. Bungie said a long time ago, they don't want scout rifles to be too good, right? They don't want a scout rifle to be able to kill too quickly, because then it would lead to a really passive meta, and that's not their vision for the Crucible, which I can appreciate. I would be really cautious about making a scout rifle too powerful in terms of optimal TTK in PvP, because I wouldn't want people to just play PvP and sit in the back and kill people super fast. I think that's sort of the trade-off. If you're going to be far away from the action and far away from danger, the trade-off is that your TTK is going to take a hit. Like, you can still do it. You can still lane with this thing, camp with this thing, play on the edges with this thing, team fire with it. All that stuff is still going to work, but the optimal TTK is going to be the trade-off there. That's going to be the downside. But the reality is that there are legendary scout rifles that are going to outperform this thing. That's just the truth of it. I mean, the Trustee can outperform it. You've got the Randy's throwing knife this season, which I've been using a lot lately. I actually think it's really fun, and when you get box breathing on that thing, well, even without box breathing, Randy's throwing knife is a scout rifle that has a faster TTK than this exotic scout rifle does. And if you get box breathing on it, you can 4-tap with it, kill even faster. It's a really fun legendary scout rifle. And, you know, I did actually go toe-to-toe with a couple of guys that had really solid Randys throwing knives in PvP while I was using this thing, and I did find it difficult to outperform them. I really had to backpedal them to make them start hitting their you know, damage drop-off threshold while I still had full damage, because this thing does have a ton of range. It really does. It's got a ton of reach, so that's not something you're going to have to worry about. And so on maps like, you know, Midtown, Meltdown, Eternity, this thing can perform really, really well, truthfully, if you play to its strengths, if you play to its range. You know, I think that if we had Equinox in the rotation right now, I mean, thank God that we don't, but if we did, this thing would probably be really good there if you were to get out into mid-map on Equinox and target people jumping up out of spawn. Now, the exotic perk in this thing, right, creeping attrition. So rapidly landing precision hits causes targets to become slowed. It really doesn't help too much for a 1v1, right? It's not going to kick in until basically the guy's dead. So it's not going to be all that useful. It's really for the next guy. So if you're in a situation where you're doing, you're laying down some fire on multiple opponents, then it's going to kick in, and it can be really fun to play with. When creeping attrition kicks in, sometimes it's really funny to watch people scramble for cover. You know, you hit them with that slow bullet, and then they're like, please, no, please, just, it's right there, cover's right, and then you kill them. You know, that can be funny, and that's a really rewarding feeling, puts a grin on your face. And I did enjoy that. So it does have some utility in that regard. I do like that exotic perk. But I just feel like they could have taken it even further. Like, there's a couple of things I think they could have done with this gun. Maybe they were just nervous too, since it's just a scout rifle. But I wish the catalyst, I'm not overly like interested in pursuing the catalyst too aggressively. I mean, I'll get it eventually, I'm sure. But I think as far as I understand, I could be wrong. As far as I understand it, it just gives you more ammo. You know, can overload the magazine when the seeking shard comes back to you after you get a kill with this thing, after hitting them with a slow bullet. As far as I understand, it just overloads the magazine. But if instead the catalyst did something like headstone, I think that would be great, because you could full send on the stasis aspect of this thing and all the stasis synergy, right? It synergizes with things like Whisper of Rhymes, etc. So I just think full sending on the stasis side of this and letting it really dive into that identity with headstone would give this thing even more utility, and that, because I think that's really what they were going for with this, is that it's more of a utility weapon, not just like a raw slayer. So I think headstone would have been a great idea. I could have gotten down with rapid hit as well. Something like box breathing, I think, I don't know, maybe they're scared to put box breathing on it because they don't want to drop that TTK on a scout rifle, but I don't know, we already have box breathing on things like hung jury anyways, so I'm not sure what harm it would do. But anyways, that's sort of my thoughts on the Wicked Implement. I think it's a really cool gun. I like it quite a bit. In terms of being genuinely useful in PvP, probably not. I mean, it's a fun gun for sixes, but I think if you were to take this thing into trials, I mean, you would probably be a detriment to your team if you really were trying to lay down fire with it, which is unfortunate. But, you know, not every gun is designed to be a genuine slayer, and that's okay too. So I hope you guys are getting down with the Wicked Implement. I hope you like it like I do. And also best of luck in getting this thing. If you're a solo player, I think that's probably going to be a bit of a challenge. I did run a deep dive just solo queued and had a guy that was really trying to get this thing. And I saw him depositing into the statues, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I already got mine, but I'll stay and I'll try and help him get this thing done. So I switched over to like my big boss DPS build with Divinity in the Well, so I could try and help him out. But our third, I think, had no clue what was going on. I was like, why are we going over here? What is this place? What is happening? And it was just, that guy got murdered by all the ads in the final boss room with the Tormentor. But I tried. If you're out there and you're watching this, just know that I did try. But anyways, best of luck getting this thing. Hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks for watching the video. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible. Bye-bye.